5 is a continuation from last night when we talked about why do we have big fights with the fam when we're doing really big projects. You've been there, you're planning a huge trip, you're on a huge trip, you're decluttering, which is what I'm doing right now. You're planning a wedding or a funeral, and the family just is going bonkers being together. So I promised, after talking about why they're so challenging, to address the solutions tonight. And the first thing is just you've got to have open communication. I think part of that open communication is saying, look, we are really pushing right now. We're pushing the limits of our energy, of our resources. We're balancing a lot. So for a small period of time, this is going to be a little bit stressful and we're going to need to all work together, right? And then if you start to get frustrated, make sure you say that, like, I'm kind of overwhelmed and frustrated right now. I thought we were doing X. Did I misunderstand? But a way to make sure that you're using active listening, that you're using empathy. My guess is if you're already in a boat with somebody doing a big project, family or no, you are absolutely caring about that person. That's someone that you have a relationship with, that you value. And the last thing you're going to want is to let it blow things up. So make sure that you focus on open communication. Next is just establishing clear roles. This can be huge. Now, I can tell you from my example, we are really lucky because I go through all the things and then he magically disappears the things, right? So the charity goes to charity, the trash goes to trash. The stuff that's on the bottom floor that needs to go up 2 floors can be carried there. Well, I just keep focusing on going through the things. But when those roles get altered, right? He was going through some of his stuff and started to put something in the charity pile. I was like, wait. I'm supposed to go through everything. So it's not just defining those clear roles. This is what you're going to do. This is what we're going to do. But it's also kind of gently calling each other out on it and helping each other stick to those roles. Now, if you have to revisit, let's say you're on a big trip and somebody's really in charge of the day-to-day, but after a week, they're exhausted. There's another week involved. You can tag in and out or something, right? You can redefine this in the process. But the bottom line is you've got to know what the roles are. Next is to set realistic expectations. I think I've shared that I have a massive project going on. And the first proposition was, could I do it in 2 days? I really quickly disabused them of that notion. That was not possible to do what I'm doing in 2 days. I asked for 2 weeks and I'm on schedule to make that happen. So setting those clear expectations. It's not just a timeline, but it's also what is the end goal. And my end goal is that every space in my home will be organized, decluttered, and clean. Oh, it's been a dream of mine for a long time, and I'm making it happen. It is not easy. It has taken small efforts over a long period of time and a big push here at the end, but that's because all along the way, realistic expectations were set. Now we know it's a big goal, but still realistic because we changed the timeline. Next is going to be to work as a team. It's really difficult if there's a big project with a family or with a group for just one person to do the majority of the work. In fact, that can cause more harm than good. I'm sure you're trying to be helpful. Trust me, I've planned these trips forever. It's me. I know how to do it. But it's really important that you don't just do it, that you engage everybody else in the planning and the dreaming and the thinking about whatever the project is, right? Even if you're the leader, even if you're the one that sets the goal and the timeline, you want to make sure all your stakeholders are engaged. So if in the past you've been really shocked because you did all this work and planned this big thing and nobody's really into it, it's because they weren't stakeholders in the process. But by working as a team, you're going to be able to avoid that because everyone will feel like they have a role to play. Everyone will feel like they have contributed, and therefore they're going to feel ownership over the project and be more engaged. Next is going to be to take breaks. I've been excellent at doing that. I had a couple of forced breaks. I had the golf tournament on Monday. I've had some client work that needed to be done over the course of the week. But the point is here to make sure that even within the days that you're not getting to the point where you just can't handle anymore. A friend of mine recently went to Rome with her sister and her niece and her mom. And her mom just had to take more breaks than other people. So they took turns who would sit with mom, who would hang out with mom. And it turns out that was one of the most favorite memories and times, right? It's not always taking a break being something negative, like, oh, we're not reaching our goal. Taking a break is awesome. I recommend you integrate taking a break into everything you plan, especially projects. Next is to seek mediation if necessary. If every time you all try to do something together as a group, as a team, as a business, as a family, there are major issues, get some help. It doesn't have to be 100 sessions, right? But it could really be critical to fine tuning that team. One of my friends is actually a consultant to organizations as a psychologist and will come in and kind of analyze teams and how they're functioning and do work with C-suite and make sure everybody gets in a position where they can perform so the goals can be reached for the organization. Families are no different, right? It might take just a little bit of tweaking and a little bit of communicating and appreciating what everybody's going through, and then wham, you're going to be invincible. And then last but not least is also easy for me, and I bet it will be easy for half of you at least, the extroverts out there. It's to celebrate your achievements, right? Don't just wait, especially if a long project over many weeks. Don't just wait to say, yay, we're done 4 years into building the YMCA, right? Make sure all along the way you are shouting out and celebrating. If you were following along in stories yesterday, I finished my first large space. The first round of my first large space. I keep thinking I might go back and do more, but it was a great thing to celebrate and to share with you because that showed me I can do this. I've done it here, so I can keep doing it. And that's a bit of what appreciation and celebration is about. It's also a time to recognize everybody in the family and what they've been bringing to the table and contributing. One of the things I always try to do following a major event or a major effort is to kind of call out something that each person did that was special, right? That was unique to them, that showed that they had a different eyesight or an approach or responsibility so that everybody feels seen in the process, right? I really appreciate the way you welcomed every single person that came into our home. It made them feel welcome and it made me know there was someone who could welcome people. So I didn't feel that pressure as I was entertaining our current guests. That's huge, right? And they might have thought, I'm over here all the time and mom never even notices all the great stuff I do. So acknowledging them in that celebration is cool. So just remember, if your family does kind of have these big explosive issues or even just tension and sadness and stress around big projects, you're not alone. Here are some things that you can do that are going to help it work for you. In last night's video are some suggestions of what might be going on underneath the surface. So know that my decluttering continues. I hope your weekend is going to be amazing. I can't wait to come back here Monday and give you an update. And we've got a week, a whole new topic that was suggested by you. So I'm really excited. Thank you for being here. I can't wait to see you tomorrow live or Monday live around 5 and have an amazing